Yeah, I've grown a whole lot. Now this is my story. When I was 17, I thought I'd rule the world. But now the only thing I'd like to do is move the world and prove the girls can do it just as good or even better. So I'm gonna make my mark in this rap game and leave it better. And weave these letters into masterpieces, breathing relics, and tell my story so completely. A piece of me will haunt you till you flaunt my legacy to everything you cherish. Cause I'm not a ghostwriter, I'm bones, blood, and flesh. Now let me clear my throat so I can get this off my chest. Developed and arrested with no speech to lead to press. Just been suffering in silence since I was conceived, I guess. So now I just spit, drool and let saliva drip onto the mic until my microcosmic life exists inside your psyche where hyperbole and hype forgets the difference between a poser and poetic licenses. Can you see me now or are you blinded by the light again? See, I'm a little different. They might understand me, damn it, if they just listen. Don't need no Grammy, hand me Zulu beats and fans' attention. And we can change the world, wait, did I forget to mention that I'm a rebel, rebel, rebel. Yeah, I'm a rebel, rebel, rebel. I'm a rebel, 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 rebel. When I was 21, young and I was cold as ice. Future was a gamble, so I shook and rolled the dice. Never been lucky, so I had to develop a tough skin. Them hard knocks and the rough patches enough to make you give up to them, but I knew something was in store for me. You might call it intuition, foresight, or even sorcery. Cause I'll be with you with a 16 of my choice, then have you shape-shifting at the first hint of my voice. I'm the black magic woman, I'll cast a spell on the track. Abracadabra, watch me drag you to heaven and back. Save your soul with my sonnets, call me the rep on a rap. And if you double cross me, tough guy, trust your Teflon a crack. People think I won't, but I will, no need to elaborate. But I can tell you better than show you, lyrically navigate you through the patterns and shapes of my mind so y'all can say you knew me. Before passion passes right through me, give me roses. See, I'm a little different. They might understand me, damn it, if they just listen. Don't need no Grammy, hand me Zulu beats and fans' attention. And we can change the world, wait, did I forget to mention?
Y'all slide up for a second because I got a story to tell you. Just know you are not here by accident. If you found your way into this space, then trust me, you were guided here for a reason. So go on and get yourself settled, get your coffee, get your mind right, and let's talk about it. Because baby, this right here, I have a story. Welcome to Blended Healing.
I look up once, heaven responds. White light moves through, truth carries on.
Good morning, Graham Rising, and welcome back to Morning Inspiration and Real Talk. Now listen, this morning is probably going to feel a little different because a lot of people are holding a heaviness right now. Everywhere you look, somebody is posting fear, confusion, outrage, bad news, political tension is happening, division, court rulings, history repeating itself, and people trying to figure out what all of this means for our future, especially in the Black community. Now, does that mean people should ignore what's happening? Hell to the no. Protections connected to voting rights are being challenged. Reputation is being challenged. History is being challenged. Curriculum is being challenged. Book bans are happening. Black studies programs are being targeted in certain places. Museums and educational spaces are under pressure. So people are not crazy for feeling uneasy right now. We cannot afford to become so emotional that we stop separating facts from fear. Once fear takes over completely, people stop thinking clearly. I need y'all to be clear.
We here now. Don't you fold. Good morning, Grand Rising, and welcome back to the Morning Inspiration and Real Talk. Now listen, this morning is probably going to feel a little different because a lot of people are holding heaviness right now. Everywhere you look, somebody is posting fear, confusion, outrage, bad news, political tension is happening. Division, court rulings, history repeating itself, and people trying to figure out what all of this means for our future, especially in the Black community. So, before we go any further, let me say this clearly. Don't you fold. Don't you mentally fold. Don't you spiritually fold. Don't you emotionally fold. And definitely do not fold on each other. Now that goes that. Listen, Any moderators that I have up in here, because of what this is going to feel like, I'm giving you a heads up now. This is going to be a trigger warning. You feel me? So, moderators, you have full control to do what you need to do, to pack them up, because I ain't got no patience for none of that. And if you can't, I'll do it. You feeling me? So let me do this real roll call right now for my peoples up in the building. Salute, salute, salute. Kels, Queen Kels is in the building. Salute, Queen Kels. Hey, hey, hey. Blessed is in the building. Salute, Queen. How are you? It's Swordy Queen. Peace and love. How you doing, doll? How you doing? I'm glad to see you here. All right, Kels. You know what I mean? All right, cool. Thank you. Salute to those in the clouds and whatever, whatever. Like I said, be respectful and just listen, man. You have a choice to be here or not. But when I didn't get any sleep all night long, that's a problem. Because when I tell you that I was up and down all night long, and when I woke up, finally decided to get up, the first thing I saw was Supreme Court. And I was like, oh, okay. So I had to tap in. Welcome, Anna. Welcome. I'm glad to see you. I'm glad to see you. So, trigger warning is in effect. I'm letting y'all know now. All right. All right. So, let me continue with this. Don't you fold. Now, does that does not mean ignore what's happening. I mean, I'm not doing no fake positivity over here. I'm not pretending people that protections are not being challenged. I'm not pretending that history does not matter. But what I am also not going to do is allow fear to completely hijack our spirit, our minds, our relationship, and the ability to think clearly, because some of us are so exhausted right now. Our soul is exhausted, not just from personal life, but from watching the world feel like it keeps pulling people into confusion, division, and emotional overload every single day. And if we're not careful, we're going to start drowning in it, that current, instead of learning how to move through it wisely. We are living on fumes right now. People who have never been in a situation find themselves in a situation. How are they going to live day by day, moment by moment? And that's what today's about. We're going to talk facts this morning, talk his story this morning, talk about the 14th Amendment rumors. We're going to talk about what's really happening with voting rights. We're going to talk about why people are comparing this time to old Jim Crow energy. We're going to talk about the book bans, the curriculum bans, museums, schools, representation, suppression, oppression, leadership, and why so many people feel emotionally stretched thin right now. But we're also going to talk about us, how we hold each other together, how leadership starts within the community, how collaboration matters more than competition right now, how people helping people become one of the strongest forms of resistance that we got left. We gonna talk about it, because if systems are weakening around us, then relationships become more important. Community becomes more important. Information, important. Support, important. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, the spirit keeps saying, do not become swallowed by the chaos. The river is moving right now. A lot is changing. A lot is being exposed. But don't you fold. So grab your coffee, your tea, your water, breathe for a second, and let's talk. Welcome to Blended Healing. Welcome to Morning Inspiration and Real Talk. Salute to my sisters in the building. Salute Goddess D of Love. Ashe. And welcome home. I'll be right back after this.
You don't chase respect. You become it. Watch how the room adjusts. Yeah. Honor ain't loud, it's precise. It's discipline dressed up nice. It's choosing growth over spite. Don't break, don't pretend. Stand firm, no need to.
We here now, don't you fold.
Everywhere you look, somebody is posting fear, confusion, outrage, bad news, political tension is happening, division, court rulings, history repeating itself, and people trying to figure out what all of this means for our future, especially in the Black community. Now, does that mean people should ignore what's happening? Hell to the no. Protections connected to voting rights are being challenged. Reputation is being challenged. History is being challenged. Curriculum is being challenged. Book bans are happening. Black studies programs are being targeted in certain places. Museums and educational spaces are under pressure. So people are not crazy for feeling uneasy right now. We cannot afford to become so emotional that we stop separating facts from fear. Once fear takes over completely, people stop thinking clearly. I need y'all to be clear.
Whatever is being placed in front of you right now, those opportunities, blessings, new lanes opening up, stop questioning if you deserve it. You do, period. Stand on that. Move like you know it's yours. Can't nobody block what's meant for you except you.
I'm going to say this real clear. I'm proud of you. For real. Because this right here, this ain't surface level growth. This is you doing the inner work, making real choices and actually standing on them. You didn't just talk about it, you moved on it.
Welcome back. I paused that for impact. Let's get into it. Let's slow this down for a second because social media got people running around here, running amok, talking like the whole Constitution got erased overnight. To us, it feels like that. I'm not trying to say your feelings are not valid, but that's not what happened. The 14th Amendment was not overturned. Let me say that again for the people in the back, the side, the comments, the group chats. The 14th Amendment was not overturned on May the 15th, 2026. Now, I understand why people are confused because a whole lot of legal activity started happening around voting rights. Redistricting, birthright citizenship, and Supreme Court rulings all around the same time. So online, people started mixing everything together and turning it into, they don't overturn the 14th Amendment. No, that's not factually true. The 14th Amendment is still a part of the United States Constitution right now. That amendment, however, is tied to citizenship, equal protection under the law, civil rights protections. So nobody woke up yesterday morning and the amendment just disappeared. But this is the part that I need you to pay attention to. What did happen is that the Supreme Court of the United States, the John Roberts Court, made rulings that many people believe weaken the protection connected to voting rights and Black political representation. This is why we got to slow down and stop reposting everything emotionally before checking the facts. Because when people hear overturn, they think it's over, everything's gone, we ain't got no rights. That's not the situation. What happened is more strategic, more calculated, more complicated. But they think we dumb, but we not. Grand Rising, First Lady. You see, the court, John Roberts Court, because he's been pecking at this for 3 consecutive rulings that I know of, that he's been chipping away at this for a very, very long time. So the court has been narrowing and reinterpreting parts of the voting rights law, especially around district maps and representation, meaning how district lines are drawn, whose votes carry weight, whose communities are grouped, and whether Black communities can maintain strong voting power in certain districts. That's where the concern is. You also got ongoing court battles around birthright citizenship, which comes from the Citizenship Clause of the 14th Amendment. So people saw that happening too and thought the whole amendment got erased. Again, that is not what happened. Now, does that mean people should ignore what's happening? Hell to the no. Because protections connected to voting rights are being challenged. Representation is being challenged. History is being challenged. Curriculum is being challenged. Book bans are happening. Black study programs are being targeted in certain places. Museums and educational spaces are under pressure. So people are not crazy for feeling uneasy right now, but we also cannot afford to become so emotionally overwhelmed that we stop separating facts from fear. Because once fear takes over completely, people stop thinking clearly. I need y'all to be clear. And when people stop thinking clearly, panic starts leading the conversation instead of strategy. That's why I said earlier, don't you fold. Stay informed, stay aware, stay grounded. But don't let social media turn you into an emotional hostage every 5, 4, 10 minutes. You feeling me? Where did I get this information? I'll put the source references inside the description box. And at your leisure, click on something, learn something today, okay? Don't run around here like Henny Penny talking about the sky is falling. Please don't do that. Please. Please don't do that. Ashe? All right.
Blessings, honey, spray so glow, feel the magic pressing. She met the essentials, house of blessings, honey. Every night, every way, lift your spirit rising. Lift your spirit rising. Mystery box, what's inside? Lunar drift to guide the night. Terror spreads, visions clear. Chimaka essentials is always near whereby. Chimaka essentials, house of blessings, fun. Spray so close, feel the magic pressing.
All right. Now, let's talk about this Voting Rights Act situation. All right. Because people online are saying everything from they kill voting rights to black people can't vote no more. And again, we got to slow down and understand what's actually happening. First things first, the Voting Rights Act was not abolished. But let me correct something because people keep mixing up these two things. The Voting Rights Act is 1965. The Civil Rights Act is 1964. Two different laws, connected history, but two different things. Now, with that being said, what people are reacting to is the fact that the Supreme Court of the United States has been chipping away at protections connected to the Voting Rights Act for years now. And the latest ruling got a lot of people feeling like the law has been hollowed out from the inside. That's the concern. See, Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act used to be one of the biggest tools Black communities had to challenge district maps that diluted Black voting power. Meaning, if states tried to redraw lines in the way that weakened Black representation, there was legal ground to fight that. Now the court is basically saying you cannot use race too heavily when creating districts either. And this is where people start getting confused and emotional because here, race conscious districts and think, oh, so they're saying Black districts are illegal now. No, that's not exactly what they said. The court did not ban all majority Black district. The court did not say racial discrimination is legal. The court did not say Black people cannot organize politically. What they did do was narrow the legal framework that had protected minority voting strength for decades. Read between the lines, or should I say, read between the lying. All right? And that's the issue. You see, this is where language matters because social media likes to turn everything into one dramatic sentence instead of explaining the layers of it. And I find that in a lot of different situations, not just this. It's cherry picked. But are we all up in arms right now? Absolutely. You see, the court is arguing that states cannot make race the main factor when drawing district lines because they say that itself can become racial gerrymandering. Yeah, that's what they say. Now, supporters of the ruling are saying the government should not sort people by race. Here we go. Critics are saying, okay, but if you remove the tools that protected Black voting power, then states can redraw maps in the ways that weaken Black political influence anyway. And that's why people are tripping. Because historically, we already know how district games work. You split communities up. You dilute the voting strength. You redraw lines strategically. And suddenly, communities that used to have political influence don't have the same weight no more. And that's what people are watching happen. And this is bigger than Democrat or Republican talking points because district mapping affects political power nationwide. But let me say this clearly too. people need to stop running around saying black people can't vote anymore. Are they scrubbing the rolls? Absolutely yes. Yes, they are. What is true is that the protections around how black voting power is preserved has become weaker and more difficult to enforce legally. You feeling me? But there's a big difference. This is why I keep saying stop reacting emotionally to headlines before understanding what's actually being done strategically. In other words, don't take the bait. They want you to react. But if you're going to react strategically. You're smarter than that. They've been baiting us since this dude got back and even before that. Don't take the bait. Salute, Jill. Thank you for being here. Because the modern game ain't always what it seems to be. People screaming at the top of their lungs. Oh, no. Sometimes it's all legal wording, court interpretation, district maps, curriculum changes, funding shifts, book bans, the quiet policy changes people don't pay attention to until years later when the impact already hit the community. That's why awareness matters now more than ever. Not panic, awareness. Because people who panic, all right, it burns people out. But awareness helps people move smarter. Where did I get all this information? Y'all know this shit. R&D, man. R&D. Research and development. Go and look. I have stuff already down inside the description box. Learn something. Let me show y'all something. I'm telling you, I've been up since like 5-something this morning. Just digging around. But I want to show you something. Stay right there. Listen to this. For those of you who are not familiar, this is Minister Muhammad. All right? And this is what he said. Nuri Muhammad.
The young against the old, old against the young, light against dark, dark against light, short against tall, tall against short, small plantation against big plantation. I put the one with straight haired eyes with one core. Then look, he said I put the male against the female, and the female against the male. Look what he says though. He said, and by turning them on each other, I keep him without the one he needs to become who he needs to be. And I keep her in, he called it a frozen psychological state.
Did y'all hear that? Let me play it one more time. It was short.
I'm up with this one.
He said, I put the young against the old, old against the young, light against dark, dark against light, short against tall, tall against short, small plantation against big plantation. I put the one with straight haired eyes with one core. Then look, he said, I put the male against the female, and the female against the male. Look what he says though. He said, and by turning them on each other, I keep him without the one he needs to become who he needs to be. And I keep her in, he called it a frozen psychological state.
Ashe. Now, if y'all are not familiar with this gentleman who's been across the news, listen to this.
Bible thumping Republican Party to say, yes, we want more of that. As a matter of fact, send Gregory Bavino down here to harass more people. So I have no doubt in my mind that the map's going to pass. If y'all can give us less than 0 seats, you would do it. Y'all do this under the orders of somebody that said the Civil Rights Act was harmful to white people, that it caused reverse racism. RFK said that black children are overfilled on antidepressants and that they need to be reparented on different forms, all of them. Pete Hegseth constantly brings Doug Wilson to the Pentagon to give a prayer service. Doug Wilson is the same pastor that said that slave owners were on strong spiritual ground. I don't have no belief in no morality on anybody that followed Donald Trump. If you wasn't with this map, you wouldn't be underneath this president. You wouldn't be in your party. You would stand up, you would stand against it, you would speak out about it. So as far as I'm concerned, if you here as one of these Trump Republicans, you already showed us who you are. You showed us what you want to do. And I believe the country as a whole is rebuking your party. Y'all are in a death spiral. That's why y'all have to redistrict. That's why y'all have to cheat. That's why Trump got to go to Texas and say he entitled to 5 more seats. It's because y'all know what y'all doing is abhorrent. We letting our people die in Iran based on false pretense that Tulsi Gabbard and Joe Kent say it ain't real. Y'all okay with all that. So I'm positive y'all gonna be okay with the maps. But the beautiful thing is, the children that y'all have made and the people that's younger than y'all don't support none of this racism that y'all want. The MAGA party is the last breath of the Confederacy. And I'll be happy to see millennials and Gen Z bury y'all. There will be no more of your party. The midterms gonna come, y'all gonna get wiped out. Trump gonna get dragged out of the White House, and I'm gonna love every second of it. Because y'all loved every second of the suffering that he caused to everybody in this country. And worldwide, we starve in Cuba. We bomb Nigeria. We hold in Zimbabwe and Zambia hostage for their minerals. We don't want to give them aid support. The pro-lifers that say all life is special, y'all letting kids die of AIDS. What part of your Bible say that? Point out the scripture. I think everybody would love to see it. And we would love to see y'all in the midterms.
Thank you for your testimony, sir. The board is clear.
I got nothing to say to that, except that he told his truth. He told his truth. Once again, salute Jill's comfort zone. Kels or D, if you're here, can you do me a favor? Or even Jill, can you put in the disclaimer for me? I appreciate it if you could. Thank you. Let me continue with this, because y'all need to strap in. Now let's wake this all the way up, because some people still think Jim Crow was just a couple of old pictures in a black and white and with whites only signs over water fountains. No. That was surface. Jim Crow was a system, a full system designed to keep black people politically weak, economically controlled, socially separated, educationally boxed in, and treated like second-class citizens after slavery supposedly ended. See, this is what they don't want you to know. After slavery ended, right? America still needed a way to maintain control over black movement, black power, black economics, black education, black voting strength. So Jim Crow became the setup. Segregated schools, neighborhoods, voter suppression, poll taxes, literacy test, housing discrimination, job discrimination, racial terror, intimidation, economic barriers, controlled access to opportunity, and the list goes on. The point was never just separation. The point was power. Who gets access to resources? Who gets protected? Who gets funded? Who gets educated? Who gets represented? Who gets heard? Who gets ownership? Who gets locked out? That's what the real game is. This is why some people today keep asking. Thank you, Blessed. Why some people keep asking, why are we watching a new version of this happen again? Well, now let's be clear. Let's be real, real clear. Let me get this up on the screen. Thank you. It's clear because I need y'all to start thinking critically and not emotionally. The United States today is legally different. Legally. Did I say legal? Yeah, legally different from the old Jim Crow era. Segregation is illegal. Segregation is illegal. Segregation is illegal. Yeah. Interracial marriage is legal. Civil rights protections still exist. Barely, but exist. Black people can vote. They can hold office. They can organize politically. That part matters. But, and I said a big ass but, here's where the conversation gets uncomfortable because a lot of people in the Black community feel like some of the attitudes under the old system never actually disappeared. We know that they just change clothes, they change language, they change strategy, they change presentation. That's why you hear people talking about voter roll purges, mass incarceration, district manipulation, book bans, curriculum fights, underfunded schools, housing segregation patterns, and barriers to political representation because people are looking at the patterns. That's what makes people uneasy right now. It's not just laws, it's the energy. People feeling more comfortable saying racist things publicly. Again, more hostility online, more extremist rhetoric, more open attacks on Black history, more pushback against diversity conversations, DEI, more attempts to sanitize slavery and racism in the school curriculum. People are noticing that. And let me say this too. Everybody does not agree on the comparison. Some people say, no, this is not Jim Crow 2.0. These are laws, are race neutral on paper. Others are saying you can make something race neutral on paper and still create racial impact in real life. That is the national argument happening right now. Black Rose, I don't care if they're Republicans, Democrats, independents, conservatives. I'm talking people. You can get behind any political party you want to get behind, but just make a move. That's all I'm saying. That's why this movement is happening right now. And this moment requires maturity and strategy, because if you are only react emotionally, which is why this is what they want you to do, you miss the mechanics. And the mechanics are where power moves happen. See, history teaches us something important. Every time Black progress moved forward in America, right, there was usually some kind of backlash behind it. After Reconstruction came Jim Crow. After civil rights came political realignment, mass incarceration debates, redistricting battles, and voting rights fights. Every expansion of power usually gets met with resistance somewhere. That's history. So now the real question becomes, what do we do about it? And this is where people got to wake up and stop waiting on one politician, one celebrity, one election, or one magical moment to save everybody. Power requires organization. That means local politics, school boards, economic circulation, supporting Black businesses, community institutions, media, media, media ownership, education at home, if you can get into the brick and mortar, coalition building, mentorship, and information sharing. You see, local decisions affect schools, libraries, housing, policing, funding, curriculum, zoning, voting access, more than people realize. That's why awareness matters. And honestly, this is where the collaboration over competition, COC, starts making real sense, because isolated people are easier to weaken. Disconnected communities are easier to manipulate. Exhausted people are easier to distract. But connected communities, communities sharing information, communities circulating those dollars, communities supporting each other's platforms, businesses, schools, and resources, that changes things. This is bigger than social media outraged. This is about long-term endurance. And maybe that's the change that's happening right now in a lot of Black spaces. Less, how do we get accepted? And more, how do we build something durable no matter who's in office? That's the real conversation. If you don't believe me, I got sources. Check in the description box, learn something. All right. Black Rose has a lot to say. I want to see, I can't really see it like that, so I'm going to post it up. Let me see what Black Rose is saying. Okay. Let me give you some attention. FBA are the top jobless and homeless in blue states. So why vote blue if it doesn't benefit FBA? Okay. Democrats are dangerous for FBA. Democrats are FBA history. Democrats are the ones asking the FBA vote, not Republicans. FBA ancestors got freedom, citizenship, and civil rights without voting. Democrats' agenda is abortion rights, immigrants, and legals, and not LGBT, not FBA. Let me see what else you have to say. These black churches, oh shit, you said these. I love it. I already see what side of the fence you on when you say these. These black churches should have free after school reading classes for FBA children instead of politics. Democrats shut down the government for illegals, but not for clean water in Flint, Michigan or Jackson, Mississippi. Chicago got a black mayor and he hasn't helped FBA. Wow, you have a lot of ammunition. So here's the thing. Did you form an FBA coalition in order to combat this, or you're just going to just point out the things about Democrats and everything else? So you're giving me synopsis of different things for different things. You know what I mean? Saying that you're pointing at certain situations instead of looking at the full picture. So with that being said, since I know about the FBA, so if you are this passionate about it, Black Rose, then I would say instead of talking about it, be about it. Show us something different. Show us something to get behind. And I would love to see you in the front. But in the meantime, you can red ball this back when I spoke about the 14th Amendment. And I thank you for coming here and listening. And I appreciate you. I really do. So with that being said, let me do this real quick. I think you may have missed this one. Wrong guy.
I'm up with this one. He said, I put the young against the old, old against the young, light against dark, dark against light, short against tall, tall against short, small plantation against big plantation. I put the one with straight haired eyes with one core. Then look, he said, I put the male against the female and the female against the male. Look what he says, though. He said, and by turning them on each other, I keep him without the one he needs to become who he needs to be. And I keep her in, he called it a frozen psychological state. I'm up with this one. He said, I put the young against the old, old against the young, light against dark, dark against light, short against tall, tall against short, small plantation against big plantation. I put the one with straight haired eyes with one core. Then look, he said, I put the male against the female and the female against the male. Look what he says, though. He said, and by turning them on each other, I keep him without the one he needs to become who he needs to be. And I keep her in, he called it a frozen psychological state.
I rest my case. I say what I said. You just gave me the perfect example of that. And I appreciate you. I really do. So, in the correct way, let us support Black business. You know, let's do that. And I'll be right back. Oh, and by no means, you did not get underneath my skin at all. Not at all. Hey, Kels, let's show him something.
y'all. Welcome to the New Digs. This is our fresh home for holistic royalty, and I cannot wait to show you around. Come on in. Right here is the apothecary wall, rows of handcrafted oils, elixirs, and tonics. Every bottle is blended in-house, labeled in gold, and ready for your ritual. Slide over to each item is crafted to nurture you from the inside out. Whether you're here for a cup of comfort, a moment on the mat, or a jar of something indulgent, it's all about honoring yourself. Thanks for walking through with me. Can't wait to see you soon.
Plants on the altar, smoke in the air. She been healing while she...
Today, I'm creating my rheumatoid relief tincture, a companion product for pain and inflammation support, especially for joints, knees, and knuckles. This blend includes ginger, foxwellia, neverflaw, nettle leaf, ashwagandha, and glycerin. After the ingredients are infused, I strain the mixture so I'm left with the herbal extract. Then I combine it with glycerin and gently blend it together. After that, I pour the finished tincture into 2-ounce dark green bottles, cap them, and give each one other tinctures with my special touch are available at TMOCessentials.com. Shop today.
How I use it. I fill the dropper all the way up, then let the whole thing drop under my tongue. I do this first thing in the morning and again at night. It's that simple. If you like a cozy cup instead, scoop a teaspoon of the loose blend into a steeper, drop it into hot water, and let it brew for about 10 to 15 minutes.
Side in the chest, meditation in emotion. She don't overstep. If her body say yes, she don't second guess everything around her.
Make sure that y'all check out Queen Kel's Holistic Royalty by Kels, baby. Always available at Shamaka Essentials website. Hey, Kels, drop your information in the chat. I'm a little busy right now. I can't maneuver all of that. Thank you. Make sure that you support Black business. Support yourself. Get yourself right with holistic remedies and not big pharmaceuticals, if you can. You see, a lot of our community members are asking that same question right now because people are looking around at voting rights fights, district maps changing, court rulings, education policy changes, economics, yada, 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 yada. So, okay, now what? History already showed us something important. Every single time Black progress started moving forward in this country, there was always some kind of pushback behind it. And that's not new. So people looking at this moment right now and feeling uneasy is not crazy. You're paying attention. One thing history also shows clearly is this: Black progress never came from one lane alone, and never came from everybody sitting around waiting for one politician, one celebrity, one election, or anything like that. You know this, man. Coalition building, independent media, storytelling, civic education, I got stuck. Legal advocacy, protecting voting rights, long-term organization instead of just showing up every 4 years panicking at election time. That's why people who really understand power keep telling folks to stop ignoring local elections, because your mayor, district attorney, school board, county legislator, your judges, your zoning boards, all of that is something that affects your everyday life. You know what that's called? In some cases, taxes. You know, a part of your taxes on your property. And if you keep it real, another thing people are waking up to is economic dependence. There's a reason you hear more conversations now about Black-owned businesses, cooperative economics, land ownership, trade skills, media ownership, building stronger internal networks that don't rely completely on outside institutions to survive. And none of that is new. That thinking goes all the way back to Black Wall Street. You know, church networks, mutual aid societies, HBCUs, civil rights coalitions, community defense organization. Different leaders had different approaches. You had Fannie Lou Hamer. You had Ella Baker. You had Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., Bayard Rustin. The one thing most of them understood was this: power requires organization. Demographics alone does not automatically create power. Just because population exists does not mean it automatically has influence. Organization matters. Funding matters. Media matters. Strategy matters. Consistency matters. Matters. And emotionally, let's stop pretending people aren't carrying something right now, because they are. A lot of people are feeling grief, exhaustion, anger, fear, distrust, uncertainty, and communities feel stretched thin already. So when people feel protections are weakening or representation is going away, the emotional impact is real. But historically, Black communities survived severe political and social pressure before. Let's talk about us. We have survived severe and emotional and social pressure before. Not because the pressure was small, but because people built structures around each other when the institutions felt unreliable. You feeling me? That's the part that we seem to forget. Communities usually don't collapse from one big dramatic thing. They collapse from fragmentation. You know, let me be politically correct about that statement. It's called divide and conquer. Did we or did we not just see that a moment ago? Okay, I'm just saying. Salute young king. We seem to forget that. We seem to forget. They use it every time, and it's so effective. Still to today. It works so well. They got that shit down to a science. People turning on each other, everybody distrusting everybody, doom scrolling all day, public infighting, emotional burnout, feeling hopeless, feeling isolated, feeling like nothing matters anymore. Oh, baby, I'm just getting warmed up. Historically, movements weaken when exhaustion turns inward. That's why your elders, your organizers, historians, community leaders always emphasize staying connected to the local networks. Faith community is the quickest pipeline that you can go through. Civic groups, mentorship, each one teach one. These aren't just words. This is a way of life. Education, teach your people. What's wrong with you? Passing information carefully instead of reacting emotionally at every rumor that's online. protecting your mental health while staying politically aware, because constant exposure to outrage and fear can make people feel like total collapse is happening overnight. And even when the reality is more layered than that, listen. The climate right now may absolutely be concerning, but that does not mean Black Americans are powerless. That does not mean that. Millions of Black people still vote, organize, teach, lead institutions, run businesses, create media, influence culture, hold office, and shape communities every single day. And another thing people better wake up to: not everybody outside the Black community supports regression either. Historically, civil rights battles involve broad coalition of people, labor groups, students, legal advocates, immigrant faith groups, interracial alliances, and that still matters. But what also matters is understanding where daily power actually operates. Your county government, school boards, judges, sheriffs, city council, you name it. Come on now. People are paying attention. Now, historically, when Black communities felt cornered politically or physically, some people turned towards self-defense organization. Let's talk about it. You want to go back? Let's talk about it. History did not start with the Black Panther Party. Black armed self-defense traditions go back to slavery, Reconstruction, and Jim Crow itself. After the Civil War, some newly freed Black communities formed militias because white supremacist violence was out of control. Black Union veterans protected polling places, churches, elected officials in neighborhoods, and later on during racial terror and lynching periods. I said it. Some Black communities quietly armed themselves because they understood the government either could not or would not protect them. After World War I and II, Black veterans came home trained for combat, but still facing segregation and violence, which strengthened organized self-defense thinking even more. Groups like the Robert F. Williams in North Carolina openly supported armed self-defense against Klan violence. The Deacons of the Defense and Justice protected civil rights workers in the South during the 60s. Then came the Black Panther Party, which grew during a period of police brutality, urban unrest, assassinations, and frustrations with slow civic rights progress. But people oversimplify the Panthers today. Yes, they carried weapons legally at the time in California, but their influence also came from survival programs. Learn something today. Clinics, breakfast programs, political education, liberation schools. And a lot of historians argue that scared authorities just as much as the guns because they were building independent community influence outside traditional power. Where do you think social services came from? Woo! All right. Let me compose myself. Let me compose myself. The influence that they had outside the traditional power structures. Then came the FBI and surveillance, infiltration, COINTELPRO, arrest, internal conflicts, and government disruption that weakened many of those groups over time. The important historical point is that Black self-defense movements usually rose during periods when communities felt politically cornered, vulnerable, or abandoned. And at the same time, Black thought was never all unified. Some leaders believe in nonviolence, others argue self-defense by any means necessary. And most regular Black communities existed somewhere in the middle, trying to survive, really trying to survive the reality while figuring out which strategy made sense for the times that they were living in. And that's why collaboration over competition, COC, ideal hits different right now. Because once people get trapped into sectors, labels, camps, online tribalism, all of that shit, egos, the mission gets lost. Everybody starts protecting territory instead of protecting people. Yes, I know they are. Listen. Do your research, baby. Do your research. It's all unfolding. I'd rather see what I'm up against than not see it at all. Because that's how you strategize. That's how you come back together. Because everybody starts protecting everybody else. There's information sharing, economic circulation, emotional support, creative collaboration, real world visibility, not someone rigid. You got to belong to this ideology. Bullshit. Because real communities are mixed. Spiritual people, business owners, artists, activists, elders, workers, healers, educators, parents, organizers, regular people trying to survive the week. And most people are not looking for another cult-like structure. They're looking for trustworthy people, functional networks, opportunity, protection from isolation, and spaces where collaboration feels normal instead of suspicious. Social media changed the whole landscape. Movements today cannot survive only online, but they also cannot ignore online spaces because information spreads there, narratives form here, reputation rise and fall here, businesses grow here, communities organize here. So the strongest approach is moving in tandem between online and offline community building. Online visibility, offline relationships. Online amplification, offline action. Online education, offline support systems. Because that balance keeps movements from becoming either empty internet talk or isolated local groups nobody sees. The collaboration piece matters because modern society conditions people into hyper individual survival. Everybody branding themselves, everybody competing, everybody suspicious, everybody guarding resources. But historically, communities become stronger when skills circulate, audience circulate, resources circulate, knowledge circulates, and support circulates. Not when people try to become a lone empire. That's why this kind of ecosystem building can quietly become powerful without needing anything loud to announce it. Once people consistently experience reciprocity, visibility, support, opportunities, and real relationships, they naturally gravitate towards it. That's usually more durable than movements built entirely on outrage and reaction. I said what I said, and I stand on it. I'll be right back after this.
Soft light, evening glow. She essential, let the magic flow. Bath and spray, a gentle start. Body butter, warm in every part. Crystals hum.
Chimaka, you outdid yourself with this scent.
Shines, every drop, every scent. Chimaka essentials, my heart's content that Chimaka essentials, house of blessings.
Welcome back. Support Black business. If I knew any more, I would be posting it up. I don't have a problem with that at all. I love my people. And I want to see you win, whether we have differences or not. I don't care about none of that. I'm too old for that shit anyway. Way too old for it. Now, whew, that was a lot for me. Like I told you, I've been up since 5 a.m. and I hardly slept during the night and the morning. Because there's a message today. It's called We're Here Now. Don't you fold. Stay informed, stay grounded, stay connected. Don't you fold. So Saturday's message feels like the council has been pulling everybody to the side and saying, before you react to what you see happening around you, before you let the noise, the headlines, the power games, the fear, and the confusion drag you into another emotional battle, pause. There is a bigger movement happening here, and you are not going to understand it if you keep trying to wrestle every piece of it to the ground. This is not the moment to lose yourself in panic. This is not the moment to let outrage become your whole personality. This is a moment where you're being asked to rise above the madness long enough to see what's really moving underneath it. A lot of people are tired right now, and not regular tired either. Their soul is tired. This is the kind of tired that comes from watching systems play games with people's lives. Watching power get misused, watching people argue over crumbs while somebody else keeps moving the table. Spirit is saying, yes, pay attention, but do not become consumed. There's a difference between being aware and being swallowed. Some of y'all have been watching everything unfold around you and trying to figure out every angle, every move, every motive, every outcome until your mind is exhausted. But surrender is not ignorance. Surrender is knowing when to stop fighting the current and start listening for direction. That is where the power piece comes in, because what we are seeing around us is not just confusion. It's power being tested, leadership being tested, accountability being tested. People with crowns, titles, platforms, influence, money, position, and authority are showing you who they really are. The message is clear. Power without compassion becomes dangerous. Power without humility becomes destruction. Power without accountability becomes a sickness. But the council is also saying, do not let them misuse of power make you misuse yours. Pick your battles. Move strategically. Stop giving your whole nervous system to every distraction placed in front of you. Everybody's wearing a crown is not a leader. Everybody yelling about justice is not operating from wisdom. Then the message changes into movement, but not forced movement. This is not about running around frantic, trying to fix everything. The energy is saying, step outside of the machine for a minute, breathe, and let the wind touch your face. Remember that life exists beyond the emergency, because some of y'all have become addicted to crisis. I said it. Not because you want pain, but because crisis has trained you to feel useful. If something is wrong, you know what to do. If somebody needs saving, you know what to do. If there's chaos, you know how to jump in. But what happens when spirit says, stop working the problem for a minute? What happens when the solution is not more effort, more arguing, more panic, more proving? What happens when the next right move is to step back and let the current show you where this is going? That river energy is important because it tells the truth. Some things happening right now are bigger than your personal control. You can stand in the middle of the water fighting it, or you can trust that the current is going to carry you away from what would have been keep pulling you back under. The issue may not be what it looks like on the surface. The real issue may not be what it looks like, but the real issue may be what you need to keep fixing what has already gone bad. Spirit is saying, stop giving all your time to broken systems, broken arguments, broken cycles, broken people who are committed to staying broken. Put your energy into creating the greater good. The greater good. Because when you build what is right, what is rotten starts exposing itself. Yeah, there is still good news here, but not the fake kind, not the everything is fine kind. There's the energy that comes in to remind us that bad news is already loud. Fear is already loud. Division is already loud. So somebody has to be disciplined enough to carry something different. Not delusion, not denial, but truth with hope attached to it. The assignment is not to pretend nothing is happening. The assignment is to refuse to let darkness train your mouth, your mind, and your spirit to only expect more darkness. Be careful for what you repeat. Be careful what you spread. Be careful what you give life to with your words. And then the song that comes in like memory, like ancestry, like a sound from deep water calling people back to themselves. It feels like remembering who we are beyond survival. Remembering harmony, creativity, community, prayer, movement, music, laughter, water, rest, spirit, all of that. Let's go. Because when people are overstimulated long enough, they forget their own humanity. They forget how to feel without performing. They forget how to listen without preparing for war. They forget that the heart still needs beauty. No, it's never too late. Never too late. Never, never too late. And that was a great question. It's never too late to bring it back, baby. Never too late. Believe in yourself and believe in your people. Sometimes just having faith with discernment is something, is some type of catalyst to inspire people to greatness. In these serious times, and this message is saying your heart is calling you back, not so you can escape reality, but so you can return to it whole. So when you put it all together, this message is direction. This story is direction. It is not telling you to ignore what's happening. It's telling you not to be spiritually hijacked by it. It's telling you to curve. It's telling you that power is being exposed. Attachments are being tested. Fear is being stirred. And people are being invited to choose whether they're going to react from panic or move from wisdom. The river is moving. The current is moving. The old way of fighting every wave is not going to work anymore. The council is saying surrender the need to control what is beyond you. Use your power with integrity. Stop rescuing what refuses to rise and speak life where fear is loud. Remember who you are and whose you are. And let the river carry you toward the next part of your journey. Because this is bigger than one moment. This is bigger than one headline. This is bigger than one person in power. This is about whether you can stay rooted in spirit while the world tries to pull you into chaos. So the question becomes this: are you going to keep swimming against the current because struggle feels familiar? Or are you finally going to go trust the river knows how to carry you toward where you are supposed to be? And that's the message. Ashe? All right. Woo! I'm going to get you all up out of here. I done had you for almost an hour and a half. Before we get out of here, though, let's wrap this, I call it a town hall, the right way. Because real talk, some of y'all are running on emotional fumes right now. Fear is everywhere. Anger everywhere. Confusion everywhere. Everybody's reacting. Everybody is screaming. Everybody doom scrolling on their phones. Everybody's emotionally hijacked every 5 damn minutes by another headline, another rumor, another truth social post. Did I say that out loud? Okay. I said another post, another clip, another outrage cycle. And I need y'all to hear me very clear. You have got to do better. Your life depends on it, and so does everybody else's. This is not the season for me only. That mentality is part of what's breaking people apart right now. Everything hyper individual, everything isolated, everybody's suspicious, everybody's competing, everybody waiting for somebody else to fix something while the community gets stretched thinner and thinner. Nah, that mindset going to bury people if they're not careful. It's a we now, whether people like it or not. This is a we season. And if we don't learn how to reconnect, reorganize, communicate, right? Support, protect, teach, mentor, circulate information, circulate resources, right? I'm sorry, I got distracted. To reconnect, reorganize, communicate, support, protect, and teach, mentor, circulate information, circulate resources, and stop tearing each other apart every chance we get. Then all this fear and confusion wins without even needing permission. And honestly, one of the strongest things Spirit brought through this morning was this. Some of y'all have become addicted to crisis. Yeah, I said it. Some people are so locked into outrage, panic, reaction, emotional survival mode that they don't even know how to exist outside the emergency anymore. Constant fear looping, reacting, tension. What happened now? Every hour on the hour. And listen, I understand why people feel that way. A lot is happening. But if you stay trapped in emotional crisis mode 24/7, eventually you're going to stop thinking clearly. You stop strategizing, stop building, you stop connecting, you stop resting, you stop creating, you stop living. And that is exactly how communities mentally collapse before anything else even happens physically. That's why I keep saying, don't fold on yourself. Don't fold mentally. Don't fold spiritually. Don't fold on your people, because the river is moving right now. A lot is changing. A lot is being exposed. A lot feels uncertain, but panic is not strategy. Isolation is not strategy. Turning on each other is not strategy. Doom scrolling yourself into emotional paralysis is not strategy. And this is where collaboration over competition really comes into focus, because maybe the answer isn't another sector, another label, another online war, another ego battle. Maybe the answer is community again, real community, checking on people, sharing information, sharing opportunities, supporting businesses, supporting creators, teaching each other, feeding each other, helping each other breathe again. Prayer, creativity, music, movement, conversation, rest, humanity beyond survival mode. Because some of y'all forgot what it even feels like to exist outside of pressure. And I need y'all to hear this very last part carefully. They cannot break a people that still know how to connect with each other. That's the part of history that keeps proving over and over again. So stay informed, stay grounded, stay aware, stay connected. Do not fold mentally. Do not fold spiritually. Do not fold on your community. And don't fold on each other. The river is moving, but we move together. I said what I said. I gotta go. I gotta go. Ashe and deep bow to each and every one of you. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you. I hope you got something from this. So now maybe I can rest. Spirit stopped riding my back about it. All right. I appreciate each and every one of you. Again, have a wonderful weekend. And I shall see you all very, very soon. And don't forget to stop by Mouthpiece on everything. Mouthpiece got a show today. You know he always do. It's around 2:30 Central Standard Time, give or take. But going over there to Mouthpiece, make sure that you tap in, all right? And support your content creators, man, because listen, there's so many out there. You're always going to find a niche. And if you decide that you want to become a content creator, do that shit, yo. For real, for real. If you build it, they'll come. It may take like 10 years. I don't know. It take me a long time. I know that. But, but anyway, do that. Support them. Let them know that you're listening. Let them know that you care. All right? All right. Alicia Dion, I need you to take us out, baby. Take us out. Let's see. Oh, this will work.
Caught up in your rhythm, babe. Every step you take's a serenade. City lights can't dim your flame. You turn the mundane into a holy place. Got me swaying like I'm hypnotized. Every glance feels like a sun.